Hold up. Wait a minute.
Bruh.
Did you hit the like button? Drop some rabbits in the chat. Let's go.
Hit that like, hit that like. Welcome to the chat. Let's chit chat, hit chat. Hit that like, hit that like. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits, drop some rabbits, drop some rabbits. Drop them, drop them, drop them. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits, drop some rabbits, drop them, drop them, drop them, drop them. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. If you want the tea, come see me. Rabbit hole is the place to be for real news, not fake news. Celebrity news, breaking news around the clock. Real talk, best on the block. I rock, I rock, I rock, I rock. Real talk, best on the block. I rock, I rock. Hit that like, hit that like. Welcome to the chat. Let's chit chat, hit chat. Hit that like, hit that like. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits, drop some rabbits, drop some drop 'em, drop 'em, drop 'em, drop 'em. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits, drop some rabbits, drop 'em, drop 'em, drop 'em, drop 'em. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. True crime is my specialty. Exposing the industry. Unsolved mysteries. Sticking to reality. Fair use commentary. Talking about cults. Trying to get results. Exploring cults. Exploring. Researching. Debunking. Investigating. Being nosy. Super nosy. Being messy. Being shady. Rabbit hole news. That's me. The chick with ADHD. Unmedicated. But quite educated. Hit that like. Hit that like. Welcome to the chat. Let's chit chat. Hit chat. Hit that like. Hit that like. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. Drop some rabbits. Drop them. Drop them. Drop them. Drop them. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. Drop some rabbits. Drop them. Drop them. Drop them. Drop them. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. Hit that like. Hit that like. Let's go. Let's go. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Let's start the show.
I'm muted. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Hey, everybody. Welcome. Good morning. Yes, we are getting started. I wasn't sure what time we were going to start because I got baby bunny and, we got to figure that out. We live now. I'm letting the people know that we're live. Shout out to everybody from the Discord. Good morning. Now, I must have missed this. Greek lady, if you're watching the replay, happy birthday to you. Every once in a while, I have to pull the chat and kind of see what activity is going and everything. So I saw that I missed it. So thank you so much for being a supporter and happy birthday to our wonderful, beautiful member, Greek lady, who's been a member for quite some time, actually. Welcome, Abram. I'm still need to go to the P.O. Box hopefully today. Shout out to you. For those that don't know, we have a channel. I haven't even put it on the description box. Lord have mercy. One thing at a time. We do have a channel P.O. Box. We had to get it for legal reasons. Shout out to us. So we have a deal where we're able to receive packages through the P.O. Box address. And don't ask me. It's written on paper. I have it written down, but don't ask me off the top of my head what that is. We've had it for a good month. And when I first got it, I forgot to tell the people that we have a P.O. Box. So this weekend, I'll be going to go pick up that mail. Hey, maybe I don't have it written down. Yes, I do. Excuse me. I do have it written down. So we are going to, I'll put that in the description box. I'll make sure I save it and then also share it on the Discord for anybody that wants to send mail or whatever y'all want to do. Since we worked out a deal, so we're able to get packages and mail. So it kind of nice little deal. 3 months for $100. I don't think it's too bad. When I was shopping around, I was like, dang, these things are just crazy, crazy expensive. But welcome, everybody. Welcome. Shout out to everybody, guys. I hope you guys are having a great Friday, February 6th. Franny Law is in the chat. Shout out to my Franny Law, Belen, all my beautiful, wonderful members. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. My goodness. Yay. Happy birthday to you, love. Okay. So we got a lot of stuff to cover and a lot of topics to go through. Yes, we're going to talk about Savannah and this whole situation with Mom, Nancy, Guthrie. But there's two stories that I have been keeping in the back of my mind, waiting for development, and I cannot ignore, okay? I cannot ignore this. I refuse to ignore this because, some things are getting a little bit more coverage. And I want to know, I didn't know, somebody came in my chat, I want to say 2 days ago, and I forgot to follow up on this, okay? So Lil Jon, okay? Lil Jon's son went missing All right. Now, the details I think are interesting. Right now, they're searching water, they're searching all kinds of area. And some of you guys are like, who the hell is Little John? Well, if you're a millennial and you grew up in, all kinds of music and stuff like that, like this would be, you would know who Little John is. But let me go ahead and share my screen with you guys. Okay. This is Little John right here. Little John hasn't done a whole lot of music anymore. He got into actually bodybuilding. I remember I did like a follow checkup on, because I was kind of curious. Little John was it's still iconic, but back in the day was somebody like a household name. Everybody knew. Yeah, that's right. There you go. See everybody. Well, Little John stepped away from the music and he actually became like a bodybuilder. Yes, a bodybuilder. I remember watching, because I told you guys at one point I was a fan of The Celebrity Apprentice. He made an appearance to Celebrity Apprentice and he got fired, and I was so mad because I like loved Little John back then, The Celebrity Apprentice. Okay, so his son, all right, apparently had gone missing. And there wasn't a whole lot of details about what was going on. Right now, he went missing in Atlanta, and police have been looking in watery areas and whatnot. I mean, this is just a sad situation. I don't know what do we make of this? Now, Little John's son missing last posted happy photos hanging out with Bow Wow. Okay, so what happened? Was he targeted? Was something happened? So Little John son, DJ son, excuse me, Little John's missing DJ son last posted happy photos of himself with rapper Bow Wow in Atlanta just weeks before he vanished. Nathan Smith, known professionally as DJ Young Slade, hasn't been seen or heard from since he was spotted fleeing his home near Milton, just north of Atlanta, first thing Tuesday morning. So he went missing, what is it, the February 6th? On the 3rd. He went missing on the 3rd, guys. And that's the last time, on the 3rd in the morning when they saw him, last saw him. The 27-year-old musician who disappeared without his phone has been dark on social media since he shared photos and videos of himself smiling alongside his manager Little Will and Bow Wow at Atlanta State Farm Arena back in January 6th. So here's some photos. Oh, 3 generations, one culture. Legacy isn't a moment, it's a continuum. Young Slade, Little Bow Wow, Little Will, real lineage, real respect, he wrote alongside the Instagram photo. They are searching water. The post came just weeks before authorities blasted out a missing persons poster in efforts to track him down. Subjects left on foot and does not possess a phone. Okay, he may be disoriented. Very young guy, 27 years old, guys. Look at him, like literally young. 27 years old, his whole future ahead of him. Music, I mean, even that, knowing, his father and his own talent and everything, of course, this is somebody who is susceptible of also being targeted. And I find it interesting that, of course, everyone should get equal coverage. This should be no different. I have not seen anybody go live and really talk about this and get into it. I'm going to try to get as many details as I can. I'm going to contact some people and see what we can put out there, what we can or can't verify, depending on what. But yeah, we definitely gotta get on this too. He may be disoriented and in need of assistance. Family and friends are concerned for his safety. Nathan, whose latest single Feels dropped last March, is one of Little John's 2 kids. The family is asking for privacy at this time, a rep for Little John said. Okay. We are also asking for continued prayers for Nathan to come home. Nathan is 5'9", about 150 pounds. And again, guys, he was last seen, let's see, Tuesday the 3rd, the morning. I'm also seeing articles that they are searching bodies of water as well. Yeah, they're searching in that pond area for him as we speak. So if you guys are in the Atlanta area, hey man. Oh, did Funky Daniva covered it, but it's not getting a lot of coverage? Okay, well, shout out to Funky Daniva. Shout out to Funky Daniva for being one of the few to cover it. Like, I'm so here for it. Shout out to Funky. And so sad, and prayers. Yeah, we nobody should go missing, but you said this is the first you've heard of this. Yeah, so then I saw this morning because 2 days ago, and I completely forgot. I said, "Wait a minute, there's a list of I keep a list of things that I have to follow up with as far as stories and coverage and true crime, and sometimes I fall behind, like, I'm behind on the Teppan murders, I'm behind on some other, stuff that I need to cover, but this one, I remember writing a note when somebody said in the chat, and I said, "Huh? What do you mean Little John's son?" I wasn't sure if they were talking about Little John, that they were referring to somebody else. So yeah, I'm glad that I followed up. I said, "Well, we got to say something today." But yes, he is missing. They are searching bodies of water. I mean, at least there's some few articles and news articles that are looking at things. The city of Milton reports enhanced law enforcement activities in area where Little John's son went missing. His name is Nathan Smith, for those that are unaware. Okay. He's 27 years old. They believe that he might be disoriented. They last saw him in the morning and they haven't seen him since. He was reported missing on Tuesday. Okay. There was some, I guess, police activity on Thursday, but they wouldn't necessarily say if it was relatable to the case and whatnot. 27 years old, very young. It says right here, on Thursday, the city said Milton police and partners from other agencies were operating in or around Mayfield Park near downtown Milton. The park is right by the intersection of Baldwin and Mayfield, where Smith was reported missing. The city also said that the law enforcement activity could potentially continue into Friday. Okay. A publicist for Little John said that the family's asking for privacy. And I mean, as they should. Is this the home? Yep. Here, let's play this. Let's see what.
Breaking news out of Milton. Police say they're looking for rapper Lil Jon's son, Nathan Smith, after he went missing yesterday morning from this home, where police say he ran out of it naked around 6 o'clock. Now, we did reach out to Lil Jon's team.
Did he say he ran out with no clothes? Kind of hard to miss somebody like that, guys.
6 o'clock. Now, we did reach out to.
Let me go back a little bit because I want to make sure I heard that correctly.
This home, where police say he ran out of it naked around 6 o'clock. Now, we did reach out to Lil Jon's team, and they say that the family is asking for privacy at this time and for continued prayers for Nathan to come home safe.
Oh, man, that is really sad. So kind of hard to miss somebody with no clothes, right? So we don't know what he was going through. Clearly, they're saying that he might have been disoriented, and there's concerns about that. I'm wondering if it's related to mental health. But again, if you guys have any news or anything, please report to the local authorities. Again, if we get any updates, we'll definitely report out. Very sad situation overall. And shout out to the subby that came into my chat and let me know about the details. I would have completely missed it. Thank you so much. Let's see. Yes, prayers that he is found. Thank you. Thank you guys for those that are messaging me. Hold up 1 minute. Okay. Connie, I'm so sorry, Connie. February 12th, Connie will be gone for 2 years. Oh man. Well, thank you so much for the super sticker. That would, I mean, she was a subscriber of ours and a members, and you're her sister, and you're keeping up the account. Thank you for keeping her memory alive and being here supporting. But we'll definitely keep that in mind. So February 12th, Connie will be gone 2 years. Wow. Thank you so much for that update. Let me also shout out, before I forget, James gifted 5 memberships. Thank you, James. Really appreciate it. Thank you. And Mags, a member for 7 months. My goodness, Mags. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Max Losa Babbitt. Thank you. 7 months. You are amazing. Thank you. There's another case that's kind of bothering me, and I'm trying to figure out, I'm being very honest with you. I don't know how to go about it. I don't know if it's necessarily a case, but it's something that I don't want to ignore, and I've been writing some notes about it, okay? The actor from The Blind Side, Quinton Aaron, okay? Put a 1 in the chat if you guys have watched that. The Blind Side, Sandra Bullock in White Capris. For whatever reason, that stands out to me. It's a couple years. There was an issue about conservatorships and whatnot, okay? at that time. And I mean, the conservatorship again was for the real person. His name was Michael Orr. For those that don't remember, that was a story based on The Blind Side. But Quinton Aaron was the one who played the actor. He played Michael Orr. Okay, great actor. So let me tell you what's been going on, right? So there had been some news, I want to say maybe about a week and a half ago, that Quinton he was like on life support. He had a fall in his home. There was a bunch of things happening, and the way that the news was being framed, it was almost like he wasn't going to make it type of situation, right? So it was earlier. It really, I mean, we're still very much earlier February, but it was literally sometime like at the beginning of the month in February where we got some news that there was like he suffered like a spinal stroke and that he was being placed on life support. And there was like a severe sudden health issue, right? Now, I remember Quinton from like, you know, he had lost a bunch of weight. He was doing really good. He was looking phenomenal, fine, like good looking. You know, he was working out. He was changing a lot. And then he kind of, I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of activity as far as anything that was going on with him, right? So his family was alerted about all this health stuff, okay? And you know, he let people were aware, or at least they're now aware that he's making progress. But this situation with Quinton Aaron goes a little bit deeper. Now I have to sign on. What the hell? Okay. It like logged me out of everything, y'all. It logged me out of everything. It goes a little deeper. Okay, let me tell you what's going on. I've been keeping an eye on it. I said, this is so weird. So I've been watching this. I've been bookmarking it. And I think people need to pay attention to this too. Okay. There's a woman who Quinton married, spiritually married. Okay. There's a woman who Quinton spiritually married. All right. And he started having these health ailments after they got together. And it's gotten so bad. And from what I'm understanding is that they believe she might have been the cause of some of the situations that's happening to him now. She is no longer allowed by his bedside. Okay. After, you know, while he's recovering from this, my understanding too is that the woman is a nurse. She's a spiritual wife. And again, I don't know what does that mean? What does it mean to be I guess if people get married in different ways and whatnot, I mean, whatever, I guess legally you can't really consider her a wife, and that's why they're able to kind of get her away from the scene. Okay. Get that. Ooh, you just put a bunch of things in my mouth. I thought the same thing too. I said, Lord have mercy, let me not say this because I don't want to get in trouble, but you know, I don't want to get in trouble. But like, this is what it was giving me when this story broke. I'm just going to be honest with you. Okay. No marriage certificate, spiritual. Okay. So the Blind Side actor, spiritual wife, banned from the hospital. Okay. Her name is Margareta Aaron. She took his last name. The woman who said that she is spiritually married to the Blind Side actor has been banned from the hospital room as he recovers from the spinal stroke. Okay. Now, Us Weekly has been putting out the information, and I guess that they're speaking directly to the family and whatnot. This comes after the family said that they have learned some shocking details about Margareta, including that she had been married to another man for 34 years. Well, if you can't legally get married, you get married spiritually, I guess. I don't know. In a previous statement to us, the Aaron family said, since the health crisis of our beloved family member, Quinton, we have raised some suspicion about the legitimacy of the marriage to each other, as well as her legitimacy as a registered nurse. We have found some alarming details. Let me find out that this woman is not a nurse, and somehow this situation did not go the way it was supposed to go. Margareta has confirmed that she has been banned from the hospital. She did talk to the publication. I'm okay with it. I'm in peace with it. Quinton and I pray a lot and believe in God and believe in a higher power, and I can believe his presence telling me that this will work itself out. Okay. So questionable registration as a nurse. All right. So he was hospitalized last month, placed on life support after collapsing in his home. He's he looks healthy. I mean, like I said, he had a lot of weight loss, good looking, success. You could see that he was thriving. So I'm not really sure what happened. But apparently, he was said to be walking up the stairs in his apartment when suddenly he just lost function of his leg, causing him to fall. He was rushed to the hospital in Atlanta and put on life support for severe blood infection. Blood infection. So, Quinton is not speaking yet, and they're choosing to hold off talking to him about Margareta until he recovers. A source told us that before the family went public with their suspicion, Margareta allegedly tried to isolate Quinton's relatives from his bedside. Oh no. Oh no. Margareta denied the accusations, stating hospital staff even told me that they were limiting visitations. They were only giving everyone 5 minutes once a day to be with him. However, she did admit to being illegally married to another man. I'm separated from my ex, and we are both working on this process to make our divorce get finalized so we can move on with our lives. I mean, literally, you have been married for 35 years, and then suddenly you just decided, now I'm going to make sure everything gets legalized. No, if it's not giving me Black Widow, I don't know what else. As of her relationship with Quinton, Margareta said, we are spiritually married. We are tied as one. Jesus said no. She also urged that Aaron's family to put aside its differences, with her noting, instead of us fighting over him, let's fight for his life and what is right. No. No. Keep him away. Keep him away. Legally, you're not married. Keep him away. You said it sounds fishy. I'm side-eyeing. Yo, listen, you guys, we see each other here. We rebuke and we don't know how we feel about that. Yeah. Okay. But it was giving me Gary Coleman to be vibes. All right. That's right. Jesus said no. He said no. No. Not you. You're married for 35 years and then suddenly, here you go. Not at all. All right. So we are going to move on. Let's go ahead and jump into what we have so far as the latest on Nancy Guthrie and everything that's been going on, excuse me. Now, people, and actually it's been a lot of folks that have been saying, you know, the police is coming, they're going back, they're searching, the search is still going. Neighbors are speaking out, which is, I guess, fantastic. I mean, that's great. You know, people are speaking out and bringing more awareness to this. I can't get over just the fact that, like, we have the deadline that has passed on this situation with the ransom, right? I don't think none of this is a joke. I think this is very serious. I think people, you know, we don't ever expect things like that. And it's just so sad. But neighbors are being interviewed. Police are coming and going. Yesterday, a person who made a fake call, was arrested. We got the mugshot. Guy looks very interesting, you know. He looks like he
just got to get your reaction.
have anything
Tom.
to lose.
How was everybody?
Excuse me. He looks like he doesn't have anything to lose, so he got bored and decided to do this because he thought it was funny. I don't know. Let's get into this.
Just got to get your reaction, Tom. How is everybody dealing with this, having this massive investigation, this terrible event happening?
Well, people could not be more upset, more surprised, more disturbed. And our organization, you know, was immediately in touch with our constituents with an email blast asking them to cooperate and help get started on the Ring camera search and actually to, you know, keep an eye out. People up here walk a lot in this neighborhood, and so everybody, I believe, has been totally aware of this and kept their eyes out.
Just got to get your reaction, Tom. How is
people walk a lot, and people are saying that, you know, that one video that she did, Savannah and Nancy, when they were, I think it was like 6 months ago, and they were doing a sit down, and Nancy was discussing about her return back to, or not return, I'm sorry, her living in Phoenix and that being like her hometown and everything and whatnot, and kind of where she stands with everything. People feel like that she put a target on her back by doing that video. Like, basically showing that she was vulnerable and living on her own. So when Let me give you guys an example. This one specifically, and I'm sure you guys saw this one, right? We've talked about this. They were drinking the prickly pear. She had the prickly pear drink, and they were talking, and she was very happy to be there. And people have been saying that video could have made mom a target because they kind of disclosed a little too much there, that she was living alone, that she was vulnerable and whatnot. You have not seen it. Yeah, this was way before, right? That she was, living in Tucson on her own. And so they felt like she was a target based on that. She made herself a target. You think that there could be a connection with that? Yeah, like, she said a little too much and whatnot. So I think that we got to be careful. Maybe she didn't realize, maybe they didn't know, that maybe they got a little bit reckless. You said, I heard the Silence of the Lambs reference. Oh, I don't like that at all. I don't like that. Not the Silence of the Lambs reference. I mean, okay, let's get into this commentary.
Now to our other top story, the intensifying search for Nancy Guthrie is now in day 6. It's hard to believe that it's day 6 and so much time has passed. It comes as the family of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie's mother releases a new plea for information. Savannah's brother Cameron says they haven't heard anything so far.
This is Cameron Guthrie. I'm speaking for the Guthrie family. Whoever is out there holding our mother, we want to hear from you. We haven't heard anything directly. We need you to reach out, and we need a way to communicate with you so we can move forward. But first, we have to know that you have our mom. We want to talk to you, and we are waiting for contact.
CBS News national reporter Andres Gutierrez joins us from Tucson, Arizona.
Now, let me put this on the side too. Ashleigh Banfield also did a video yesterday. I watched some of it, not all. Put one in the chat if you watched all of it. Let me know how you guys think. She's not backing down from anything at this point, even though, I don't know, I guess I doesn't look like that's what she's doing at this point. You watched it? It's crazy. They towed the car. That's what they said. Yeah. You said there's an alleged connection between the person arrested and the son-in-law. What? Layla, you said there's an alleged connection between the fake prankster and the son-in-law? Who said that? I didn't watch. I watched some of it, but not all of it. Yeah, Ashleigh's not backing down. I mean, she wasn't backing down. She's not even backing down after yesterday's press conference. But Layla, who said that there was an alleged connection between the arrested person and the son-in-law? That would be the first that I heard of this. Let me know. Ashleigh is pissing me off. She needs to zip it. Okay. No. Peekaboo ICU says Tommaso. Is that how you say his name? Tommaso's bandmate was a roommate. I'm gonna need a source, y'all. And I believe she's saying it. Okay, well, we can go and watch it. Okay. You know what? Let's go ahead and start here, and then we'll move a little bit over there and see what connection.
Andres, thank you so much for joining us again. We know that there were 2 ransom deadlines in this letter. One of them came and went last night. There's another one on Monday. When are we expecting to hear anything else from authorities? And talk to us about the significance of what 2 deadlines could possibly mean.
Yeah, well, so far, Adriana, law enforcement have not set another news conference as of yet, but these missed deadlines do not change how they are working through this investigation. They are, if anything, it does help them verify where whether these notes that were sent to 2 television stations here in town, as well as TMZ, are real or not. So, yeah, there was a 5 o'clock deadline that was set yesterday. A second deadline is coming up on Monday, but so far there has been no proof of life, and the Guthrie family is still trying to establish a line of communication. This morning, drivers out here in Tucson and the region are seeing pictures of Nancy, as well as the $50,000 reward that the FBI is offering for any information leading to her safe return or the arrest of the people or individual who did this to her. The FBI continues to send additional resources. They are currently posted up at a 24/7 command post at their Phoenix field office. Agents are right now combing through video cameras that have been collected in her area, as well as on the ground, interviewing neighbors or family members and friends and anyone associated with the family. They've also been working through the forensic analysis of the cell phone data, cell phones that were possibly in the area the night of her disappearance. And so all of that, again, they have been extremely resourceful and helpful to local authorities here. Some of the evidence has been sent over to their center in Quantico to try and analyze it.
Okay.
Right, so as you know, Andrea, Savannah Guthrie expressed some concerns about.
Hold up. You guys are talking about a YouTuber who knew Savannah Guthrie knew #1 suspect connected to family. I don't know if this guy, because he's a bigger YouTuber, so I don't know if he does, and I'm not subscribed. But I don't know if he does. How is he connected to the family? That's what I want to know. You guys are talking about this. You guys are saying that there's a connection to the family between the suspect. Let me see. Let's go to the transcript. No. Let's go right to it. Okay, yeah, he was arrested for the fake stuff. Okay, but how is he connected to the family? Is this just speculation? Somebody said in the comments, the guy is probably good friends with the son-in-law and something's fishy. We don't know that, though. I don't know, man. Okay, let's get into this.
Person that was arrested for this fake ransom note earlier today. His name is Derek Kalela. And there's some pretty...
Wait, that's how you say his name? Kalela? I was like, I couldn't say it.
This stuff just gets deeper and deeper. Here's a photo of him. This is a still shot that I took from one of his YouTube videos. Yes, I found his YouTube channel. He's 42 years old. This is back from 2017. He only has 2 videos posted on his YouTube channel. Both videos are him.
Really? Oh, I cannot. All right, hold up. You said ain't that jumpsuit the same one that lied about gang ties and got his ass beat for light? What? I didn't know that. So who said that it's speculation? Okay, so we don't know. Y'all, come on now. Come on now, because like I gotta be careful with this guy too, because he might strike and everything. I don't know him. So you guys are saying that there's a connection. Well, how is it that the internet found that connection and the FBI is offering a $50,000 reward for any information that leads to the arrest of the person that did this? Anybody? How is it that how is it that the internet has already figured out the alleged connection and yet the FBI is offering a $50,000 reward for information? Like, I guess we must not be on the same train. I don't know.
AI potentially complicating this investigation, but hoaxes seem to become a bigger problem. Explain that.
Yeah, so not only are they dealing with the obstacles of having to navigate AI at some point during this hostage negotiation, if we end up seeing it play out in real time, but they're right now dealing with old-fashioned hoaxes. Federal prosecutors have charged a 42-year-old Southern California man, Derek Kalela, who apparently sent a fake ransom note to the Guthrie family in the midst of all this. According to the federal complaint, Kalela ended up using an app to come up with a fake phone number and then ended up texting the Guthrie family whether they had sent the Bitcoin that they had been looking for, saying, quote, "We are waiting on our end for the transaction."
And no, he does have a record. Derek has a record. He stole from Human Health Services. I think it was like close to $10,000. So, and that was like 2 years ago.
Agents traced that number to an email to an address linked to Kalela. He later admitted to sending those messages after he's been following all this news coverage. He's going to be in federal court in downtown Los Angeles this afternoon. This is obviously a prime example of someone who's trying to take advantage of a very horrible situation and ends up siphoning off the resources during all of this as they're trying to do this desperate search for Nancy.
All right, Andres, thank you so much. I know you're staying on it. Let's bring back in former FBI Assistant Director Stephen Jensen. Stephen, we're really working you today on these different stories, but we're so glad that you are with us to give us some kind of context to better understand the investigation into the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. As you know, there was a Thursday 5 p.m. deadline on this ransom note. There was also a Monday deadline. What does it mean for a note to have 2 deadlines? When that's happened in the past, what might that indicate? And what does it indicate that Thursday is now gone?
So really good question. And first, I'd just like to address briefly the nature of these cases. The investigators who are working this tirelessly are living this minute by minute. Those minutes, and I've been there, feel like hours. Sometimes hours feel like days. And so first to the joint team of investigators, don't lose hope. Keep pursuing it, that she's alive, and you will find that lead.
Today is day 6. For those that are wondering, today is day 6. You said, hold up. Let me see. Derek is a scammer and he likes the same genre. That's fine. They could like the same kind of music. Doesn't mean that there's a connection. There's probably different things that one could say. I guess for me, it's like, it doesn't make sense that, when did we figure this out? Was it after the arrest that there might be a connection? Why wouldn't the FBI then go ahead and move forward and do what they have to do with that situation versus then saying, here's a $50,000 reward? It doesn't make sense. But hey, I don't know. If you guys feel like it does, then it does. I don't know how, but okay. Banfield started it with her inside scoop. Chantel, thank you so much for your $2. Well, when I heard her say the inside scoop, I thought she was directly talking to Savannah because the connection. Like, in my mind, I'm thinking that people are talking to Savannah. I don't think, and now seeing what's happened, I don't think Savannah's talking to anybody. I don't think Savannah's talking to anybody. And honestly, like, I know that these reporters have a job to do, but oh man, like, even in police forces, they have each other's back. Not here. So you got to report a story. You got to report a story. You know what I mean? Wrong, right, or indifferent. Even when, yeah, even if it's about your friend or your colleague or whatever. Y'all notice that? It's weird. Chantel, thank you so much for the $2. I'm like, if I was Savannah, I'd feel some type of way about this whole situation, but that's just me.
Will lead to her safe recovery. Second, the family this is an agonizing case to work with, and they just want the return of their mom. The ransom note itself, I think, and the investigators are doing a good job of maintaining discipline over information. The fact that we know there's 2 demands on it is unique. We don't know the nature of the demands that were placed, and it could have limitations based on how they want money transferred, moving Bitcoin, or limitations on bank accounts, things like that. But what we do know is they're treating this ransom as though it's legitimate. And in order for it to be executed legitimately, you need some sort of proof of life or guarantee that the people who sent that note actually have the victim and are willing to make an exchange and can show proof of life. That's a key component here.
But Steve, just to follow up on that point, if they did transfer the money, we don't know how much money is being asked. Worst case scenario, they lose the money. Is the proof of life, critical, just to not influence other people from being copycats and trying to ask for money?
So that's a great question that she's asking. Now, you said check any headline promo for bands being at the same event. And they could be. My thing is why did we figure that out before the FBI? I feel like people are creating their own narrative about the situation until the FBI comes out here and says, well, so-and-so is a person of interest. And why would here's the deal. It's like, they don't have to tell us anything. They don't have to confirm any information with us. They really don't. But where we're at right now with the situation, you have the family that has done 2 videos. The first one said a lot without saying a lot. Okay. Keep that in mind. The second one was just the brother after the timeline. This is what, and I said it yesterday, it's what it told me. The ransom note, the first one, was legit. The one that the local news station got was legit. The one that TMZ received was legit. But then you had Derek, who watched TMZ because they were the first to put out about the ransom and all those details, and that created a copycat. Derek was arrested just recently. If you look at the timeline of Derek's arrest video, the paperwork, to when they released that video, it says it all there. The only copycat was Derek. That we know of, there's no more. That first ransom that went to the station, I believe, was legit. That's why Savannah and siblings did the video. Savannah and siblings did the video. And they had already, it looks like one can logically conclude that they were talking to somebody. And then they stopped communication. There was no more communication. That's why they did the video. That's how it's painted out to me based on that. That's what it seems like to me. but we don't know. You said none of the ransoms were legit. How do you know? Then why put out a video? I guess that's the question. Let me know. You said, I don't think they're contacting the family because there's no longer alive. They ran into trouble and they figured out they needed medication. And unfortunately, NL double knot, I don't think that you're wrong about that. I think that this is very likely the case. I'm sorry, but it seems like they're asking for proof of life. Don't forget what TMZ said. They said that they checked the Bitcoin and the address is checked out. They put out those details. It created a copycat. It's kind of sad because if you think about it, had TMZ not said anything, they probably could have still been talking to the person that did the ransom. We don't know.
So there's already been an example of a hoax ransom note that led to an arrest that required or requested Bitcoin be transferred. And investigators were able to prove very quickly that that was a attempt to fraudulent obtain money from the victim's family.
That's right.
Knowing that there is somebody behind that ransom note who has access and information, details that could lead to the safe recovery. It's also an investigative step to try and identify who the perpetrators are. It's the family's decision how they follow up on ransom requests. The investigators are going to try and identify the subjects and safely return the victim.
So Steve, I mean, it's been 6 days now, just in your experience. What are we looking at? I mean, if they sent a ransom note and the family was trying to engage with whoever might have sent that ransom, why would there be no communication? Why would Cameron Guthrie, Savannah's brother, come out with another video and saying, hey, reach out to us, we wanted to talk?
Think about that question. Timeline, update. We don't know the exact time frame.
Yeah, it's another good question. We don't know that there's not been any communication. We do know that there's very public pleas from the family personalizing the relationship and the human nature of their mother, right? They're using very specific humanizing language about their mom. And that changes the nature of people's perception, the subject's perception of the victim in particular, that this is an actual person and they have human connections. That's very intentional by the family. And even if there was communication with the suspects, I would expect communications like this to continue. Humanizing their mom, pleading for her safe return. That is just good forward-facing communication from the family to keep their mom alive as long as possible.
Has that proven effective, Stephen? I mean, having that kind of language that humanizes someone who's been kidnapped, that actually works? Because I would think a criminal who's going to do this to begin with is pretty cold and knows how beloved this woman is. And then
no law enforcement language in the letter, in what they read out. No law enforcement language was ever really put out there. So it was a plea, right? It was a plea. And humanizing the situation, humanizing her. It was very interesting how it was written, because it wasn't like a demand. I mean, you have a family, that's really going through it. You could see it, but they're very careful. They're willing to talk. That's what they said.
Secondly, what do investigators, what does law enforcement, how do they counsel the family in terms of what information they should put in these videos and what information they should not put in these videos?
Yeah, two great questions. It is an ongoing, it's an ongoing conference and advisory from our behavioral analysis unit at headquarters. I believe they're on scene, and our crisis negotiator team from Quantico, Virginia, I believe they're on scene as well. Partnered with the locals, they're going to give advice and counsel to the victim's family. They can advise, but the family can really do what they want to in this matter. Keeping information pure so it doesn't over disclose information that is only known by somebody who was at the crime scene is critical. Not publicly disclosing information that is so unique to the crime, unique to the mom, but only the mom would know, or only those who have the mom would know, is key to confirming the validity of who has the mom. Those are the things that I think the advisors would be given counsel to the family. The family needs to listen to the advice they're getting. And as the days go on, desperation is going to increase. That's why I started with that message of don't lose hope. The family needs to maintain hope.
Yes.
And the more videos they put out that personalize and humanize the mom, they will feel that strong connection to their mom. They will have hope that she's alive. It will also generate attention from the public. And that's why the FBI offered an award or a reward for the safe recovery of the victim or the arrest of subjects involved in this. It notifies the public that, yes, this is the 6th day. Leads could be growing cold, but their efforts are not. And we need new leads to come forward to the investigative team to try to safely recover the victim.
The timeline is interesting, guys. The garage door opening and closing. There was very interesting parts of this that just overall, in my mind, And I was like, well, maybe the intruder or intruders were waiting for her inside. Or is it possible that she got inside and then they were able to have access to her garage? They were able to open and close the door and kind of do everything that they were doing. It was targeted. It was planned, premeditated, targeted to do all this. And honestly, it can't just be one person, man. It has to be, it seems like it might be multiple.
All right, some really interesting and fascinating details about the investigation there from Steve Jensen, former FBI deputy director. Yeah, Steve, thank you very much as always. We appreciate it.
Could it be a group of people? Could it be, a specific hit to make something kind of put out a message? Was there something like, it's a lot of questions that we have here. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward to some of this. But apparently you guys are saying that other things were put out here. I watched a little bit, but
and
not a
Sheriff
lot.
Chris Nanos also went hard on that today in a press conference. But I want to break that down for you because there were several points in that press conference where language was very, very nuanced.
Oh.
And I also saw a couple of places where there were not denials of some of my reporting. So we're going to go through that all in a minute. More importantly, there are a couple of big news items today as well. An arrest of whomever allegedly decided that it was a good idea to insert himself into the Guthrie's tragedy and try to make money. Okay. Allegations are pretty severe for this guy, and the punishment
to try to make money is what the FBI said. They didn't really talk about that in the criminal complaint. So the criminal complaint, if you think about it, it's 2 counts that they're charging him. It's for the contact, I believe. And then it's also for, the attempted contact, not for the money part. I didn't see that on the counts, but okay.
will be probably swift and furious. I'll get to that as well. Somebody who was a faker who sent one of the ransom notes. That doesn't mean that all of the ransom notes have been cleared yet. There's news on that as well, and very interesting news on that, especially since Savannah Guthrie's brother, Cameron Guthrie, late this evening decided to release a post on Instagram again, much like his sister Savannah did yesterday. It is a specific request for whomever might be this kidnapper who sent a ransom note to please communicate. And obviously proof of life is top of their minds. Have a listen to this.
Okay.
This is Cameron Guthrie. I'm speaking for the Guthrie family. Whoever is out there holding our mother, we want to hear from you. We haven't heard anything directly. We need you to reach out, and we need a way to communicate with you so we can move forward. But first, we have to know that you have our mom. We want to talk to you, and we are waiting for contact.
You should know the FBI is heavily involved in this case now, especially as concerns these alleged ransom notes, right? And the ICAC also heavily involved in this case. Important because that's the International Crimes Against Children Task Force, but don't think of this as crimes against children. They do a lot with kidnapping and
very good at kidnapping. ICAC. Okay. They have different ways of kind of getting around and doing different things and whatnot. So the brother is trying to be strong for his sisters. I think so too. You said if it's not the son-in-law, boy, his name has been, well, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, and then I heard that he's like a teacher. I would have an issue with that as well. I would. I don't know why you're bringing in this crap in here. Please go to sleep. Go eat a Snickers bar. Thank you. You said he made it sound more, than the plea group, right? Oddly, no emotion. Look at the body language. Yeah, but listen. People have assessed, well, the brother's not crying, the brother's not this, and anything like that. Thank you, Chico, for handling that. I'm like, who the hell are you? It's so hard to assess emotional stuff when you don't know how people are going to react to trauma or anything like that. It's like people want to see people just completely break down and cry all kinds of tears because that's what a lot of us would be doing if we were in that situation, right? But we don't know. So it's kind of like, I take that as take the emotional part with a grain of salt because you don't know what is going on internally. People deal with shock differently. They probably haven't slept in hours. I'm sorry. Like, it's a lot to take in. You know what I mean? Truly. Hold up. Let me shut up, P. Bailey. Thank you so much. P. Bailey says, oh my goodness, I'm a little behind. You're killing me with your commentary. Jesus said, no, I'm dead. Prayers. Thank you so much, P. Bailey. Thank you. That came out of nowhere. Please note. Thank you. And guys, make sure you guys are hitting the like button, please. And thank you and sharing. Thank you, P. Bailey. Y'all are funny in the chat. That's right. We don't know that the person detected on the camera wasn't Nancy herself. Bingo. I was thinking that too, actually. I think she heard something. Oh my God, my camera just died. Now I got to change the battery. I think she heard something and got up and you said, and tried to investigate. All right. Well, I changed my battery. You said, I think she heard something and got up and tried to investigate, maybe catching the intruders. You know what? That's a good point. Okay. So I thought about this too, actually. CK, I thought about the fact that, is it possible, hear me out, guys, on this one. Is it possible that this was actually a what is it? Not a robbery, but like a burglary. And, you know, they were in there. She could have like maybe fell asleep or whatever. And maybe she caught them or something to that effect. And, you know, she kind of caught them in progress, because we don't know how the home was left. But see, nothing was missing. So maybe they got kind of like weirded out and they were like, well, we better not we have to take her. We can't take anything. They're not talking about whether anything is missing or anything in their possessions and whatnot. So I do wonder, is it possible that this could have also been a situation like that, where it was it's burglary, not robbery, burglary gone wrong, like a home burglary gone wrong. And they had to like act quickly because, you know, she came in or she woke up or something and they didn't expect her to wake up or anything like that. Okay. Sorry, y'all. My camera's acting up. The battery died. Here we go. Is it possible that that's the case? Very possible. We don't know, but the details, I don't know. You said it could be he just looks numbed. You said she was asleep. How the police put it when these people busted in and snatched her up, a struggle pursued. Yeah, like she fought. It sounded like she didn't go willingly. At least that's what I heard, is that she fought, right? Okay, let's keep going. And shout out to, is it Alexi? Alexi, thank you so much. Thank you for becoming a member. Shout out to you, love. Thank you for supporting the channel. You said, how do we know if they ever had contact with Nancy? I don't know, man. Huh. Okay, let's keep going.
A lot with tracking kidnappers. So they were the ones that carried the ring light in and the iPhone tripod to help the Guthrie family record Savannah's statement on Instagram yesterday. Perhaps they also helped Cameron with his tonight. But the thing that the FBI said in the press conference today that was so interesting about kidnappings and ransom was that kidnappers typically are much quicker to the gate with the demands. And the communications don't usually just end with the initial request, right? The demands are typically discussed. There's typically communication. And this to the FBI today was unusual, which, for what it's worth, is what they have to go on at this point. And what they said was that absolutely zero contact has been made with the Guthrie family since the ransom note went to the media. So there's a couple of...
Absolutely. So no contact? Okay.
Different ransom stories going on. You've probably heard several. I'm just going to be as clear as I can, as clear as the law enforcement authorities have been with us. There was one that went to TMZ via email. There was one that went to KOLD-TV locally in Arizona by email. And there was one that went to KGUN, another local station in Arizona. It is thought, but not 100% clear from the authorities, that those three are all the same ones from the same source. But there's another one. Federal prosecutors have now charged a man in California, Derek Kallela. I don't know if it's Kallela, Callella.
Lord have mercy. What in the Woody Woodpecker do we have here? I saw that photo and I was like, oh no. Sheriff Nano stated that they have not confirmed if cams were smashed or taken, just an FYI. He went in there and he said that. Actually, he reiterated that. He said he didn't know that. So, yeah. You said, because TMC effed up, I wouldn't tell the media either way. Right. Why are y'all laughing? I'm just saying, like, I swear, you know, I'm telling you, he must have gotten bored or something. He's like, I'm just going to insert myself in this situation. You said, wait until you see his blow up doll. Nini F6, I don't want to. I didn't even know one exists. Oh, Lord have mercy. No. No. Don't do that. Don't be calling him Bad Bunny. You stop. No. Stop. Definitely not. Isn't we have stuff going on this weekend. We're not doing that, okay? I don't know. You said what is in his damn ear? A safety pin with a red something. His IG is weird. I haven't even seen his IG. Anyways. Okay, moving on, y'all. Let's move on because y'all be doing. I didn't need to know about. Shout out to Nini though. That was funny, but I didn't even know, and I didn't even think we were gonna go there. But okay.
And they are accusing him of inserting himself into this case by sending what authorities say was a bogus ransom demand to Savannah Guthrie and her family directly. They say Derek Kalela allegedly reached out directly to Nancy's daughter, Annie Guthrie, and her husband, Tommaso Cioni, asking whether, quote, the Bitcoin had been sent, end quote, and claiming that he was, quote, waiting for the transaction to go through, end quote. Let me just say, that is going to be very, very hard to defend.
Yeah.
If someone had just sent a text and said, are you going to pay? That you could defend because it could be a question. I feel bad for you. Are you going to pay this? But no, that is very specific. Waiting for the transaction to go through. Federal agents say the message came through a voice over internet system that can disguise phone numbers. Congratulations. Guess what? Court records say that the digital trail was able to connect the account back to a Google email.
The email. I told you guys this yesterday, and the email was his first and last name. I was like, oh no. Oh no.
And you know who it allegedly belonged to? Derek Kalela. So after being advised of his rights, prosecutors say that he admitted that he sent 2 messages. And the investigators say he told them he found the family's contact information online and had been closely following media coverage as the case unfolded. And according to the FBI, the messages were not the end of it. They say he also called the family directly. So if Derek Kalela, in fact did this, he's in for a world of hurt. Because the criminal complaint against him says he's facing 2 federal charges, allegedly transmitting communication containing a demand or a request for a ransom for the release of any kidnapped person, and also making a phone call without disclosing his identity with the intent to abuse, threaten, or harass a person. And I did a little quick research.
And let me say this. You said, yes, I agree, Vicky. You said, oh, sorry. I didn't mean to activate the bubbles. You said that he used the dark web. No, for what? For this? No, he got the information from the video and then he contacted the family. He did nothing but was just a nuisance. There was nothing. He just had a VoIP thing and then he thought that he wasn't going to get in trouble or he wouldn't have been found out. That is the question, is why. I think he just, the hype of it, people want to insert themselves in situations and now everybody knows who he is. Pretty much. Okay. Good luck getting a job, man, because with that face and that haircut, yeah, no, it's not gonna fly.
Very, very cursory research here, but under California statute, a defendant who uses the internet, again, that's cross state lines, right? To extort a crime victim during an investigation has a realistic exposure to somewhere between a range of 3 to 8 years in prison, federal prison, and that's the lower end because it can actually go up to a potential of life as a maximum. If aggravated witness intimidation and criminal threats like strike priors are in play. So on the low end, 3 to 8. I mean, what kind of parasite does this? What kind of parasite? And I think we all know there are plenty, right? And that's just one of these ransom demands. We still have, these 3 other communications that were sent via email, and they mentioned.
Here's the deal, Ashleigh. Here's the deal. I'm gonna say it. You guys are gonna get mad at me, but I'm gonna say it. There wouldn't have been any of this shit had it not been made public by TMZ. We wouldn't have an issue of a copycat because we sit here and we talk about how could people do X, Y, and Z and X, Y, and Z, and then this shit happens. And it's like, oh, well, we don't actually look at the fact that people want to insert themselves. And this is a real crime, right? So had TMZ not put that out there, we wouldn't have not had it. I mean, can people connect the patterns to this, or are people just going to ignore that? We wouldn't have had a copycat. We didn't learn about ransoms, Bitcoins, Bitcoin addresses, emails, any of that. We didn't know anything. The network, the local network, didn't say anything. Why? They gave it to law enforcement, right? They gave it to law enforcement. But TMZ put it out. And then it was through TMZ that Derek copycatted the whole thing. Derek wouldn't have known anything. Derek would have been sitting there in his couch with this blow-up doll, watching the TV like everybody else, watching all of this going down. That's what the issue is. Okay? There's nothing more to it, but that's it. You know? I don't know. You said, yeah, and they know how fast the copycat got swooped up, and now I think they're going to be more careful. Absolutely. And why? TMC even said it. They were like, the FBI talked to us. We can't really talk. Yada, yada, yada. You know, yeah. Okay. They put that out there. I'm sorry. They shouldn't have. Who does that? Why would you do that? Anyways, moving on.
And apparently floodlights at Nancy's house and an Apple Watch. Okay, Brian Enton has been out front and reporting a lot of this, but I do want to let you know that the timing of this is really interesting. So Monday is February the 2nd. Lots of reporting on this. Visuals of Nancy's house. The crime scene tape has come down and news actually breaks. So Brian Enton actually asked the authorities in the news conference today, did the ransom note come in before all that news broke or after all that news broke when you could see the floodlights and we knew about the Apple Watch? Have a look.
When did the first ransom note arrive? And the reason I ask is because the Apple Watch has been in the news and on social media, and you can see like floodlights on video. So was it before those things were out in the world?
I don't have the specific time frame as I sit here today of what time it came in, but that you are right. Anyone could see a floodlight hanging down, could have seen some of those things. The watch has been talked about. So that timing is tricky, but that's why we're taking it serious no matter what and following the leads on that. But I don't have the time frame that the first note came in as I sit here today.
So I can tell you right now, there was wide reporting on the Apple Watch separating from Nancy's pacemaker on Monday.
Okay.
And much of those communications, started arriving Monday evening. So it's entirely possible somebody just saw the news, saw the floodlights, heard about the pacemaker and the watch, and sent.
Here's a question for those that watch this whole thing. Does she address the son-in-law situation, or does she just ignore that? Like, does she address that she doubled down on that? And just curious. Does anybody know? Does she address it? Like, let me know. Does she address it, or she just kind of ignores it and keeps going? Peekaboo, I see you. Thank you so much for the $4.99. FBI says 3 ransom letters at 3:37 all said the same thing. Was there a fourth? I think. Now, Peekaboo, when you're counting the ransom letters, are you counting Derek's ransom letter too? Or not ransom, but are you're I guess I don't know. You're not accounting that situation, right? It's a part. Let me know, Peekaboo. Because I heard 2 different time frames. Did they ignore them? And then because they didn't know and they thought it could just be anybody? Doesn't the FBI, I would think that the FBI would have a protocol for things like this. There's got to be a protocol, or, when I worked in government, we had protocols for everything. Let me just say this. You have meetings and protocols and sign initiations and different things for different things that happen, especially in the media when you're handling something. There's always a breakdown. So what happens if you receive multiple ransom letters, and then how do you go about checking them? How do you determine what? You said, if I was the family after this over, rather than closure is found, I would sue. Ooh, I said the same thing. I said, man, and these are your colleagues. Okay. But like I said, in media, anything and everything goes, I guess. These are the people like you would think, but I think that relationship is being leveraged, honestly. Yeah. You said, hold up. I was waiting for Peekaboo, see if Peekaboo answered my question. If there was multiple, and then which one did they determine which was fake? Was it just Derek? Or that's kind of where I'm confused at too. You said one creator said church was online, but our church has both. Okay. You said she was wrong for releasing the info. Okay. Ashleigh then had a blonde on with her in the latest where they doubled down on the Thomas thing. Okay. Wow. She doubled down because I remember her saying that she had a burner phone to call BK during this case. The thing is about, making this correlation with other cases that she's reported on. She does this a lot. Brian Koberger is one, this and that and the other. correlation is not causation all the time, right? Every case is going to be treated a little bit different. You said, why would the FBI? No, you're right. They're not going to provide any. We didn't provide protocols to the public. That's like giving the criminals an inside way of committing crimes. That's absolutely true. But I was curious to know, like, I'm sure that they have a protocol to kind of assess what looks like a real ransom versus not, right? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
These notes out, just once again trying to insert themselves. Is it possible there is someone holding Nancy Guthrie? They've got to go on these leads. They have to go on these leads. They have to treat it as though it's possible, which is why you're seeing these proof of life videos from the Guthrie kids. It's why you're seeing valuable law enforcement resources and time and energy dedicated to this. Big waste of time if this is just some parasite, right? And it's why the sentencing range can take you up to the max. So let's turn now to the press conference, because some of the things the sheriff said today and how he's...
Okay. Why did she say that way? A high-level law enforcement, yes, we know that, but they also said that that's not the case. And then I'm still on the fence. I'm going to be quite honest with you, because like law enforcement can lie to you. She could be 1000% correct about everything that's being said. But then what works against her, in my opinion, in this piece of information is, why offer a reward? Why would the FBI offer a reward if they already have a prime or a person of interest? I don't know. You said sugar, honey, iced tea. Thank you so much for the $5. Her doorbell camera disconnected at 1:47, and her pacemaker app didn't disconnect from her Apple Watch until 2:28:45. Whole minutes seems sketchy. Says sugar, honey, iced tea. Thank you for that. That's an interesting, the time frame. It all seems very sketch. Well, she didn't disconnect it herself, right? We know that. Let's keep going.
Said these things speaks volumes, right? There is a lot, including some of the things he said, I think, about my reporting and other people's reporting. Before I get to that, though, I do want to tell you thank you very much for watching this podcast and supporting my podcast. I can't do this without you. You mean the world to me, especially during a big story like this. And so I also need to tell you that my sponsors make this possible as well.
Okay, let me move on. Shout out to her sponsors. Y'all go check out her sponsors and do what you got to do.
That they have out for testing, and they're still awaiting some of those results. They said sometimes it takes 10 to 20 days. They got an expedited, obviously, blood. They got that expedited, so they were able to get Nancy's results back, and that is Nancy's blood.
Okay.
You know, it clears it up, but it's also hard to hear that. They also processed the scene for biological evidence, still trying to process those samples as well. They didn't say which one, and they would not. They would not go into the crime scene itself. Every question everybody tried, he said, no, I'm not doing that. Let's talk suspects now, because this was my big reporting. And again, I will use...
They won't go into the crime scene. Here we go. All right. Let me see it. Am I ready? I didn't see this part.
Use the wording that my impeccable source used. Please, if you're going to disseminate this, use these words. They're the words I have used. They are the words that my sources used. Son-in-law may be prime suspect now. Okay. The sheriff has pushed back hard on that, saying no suspects identified at this time. No suspects.
Wait, her words are son-in-law. Let me go back a little bit because I don't want to misquote her. Wait. We are still repeating this? Maybe. Look, she could be 1000% correct, and she could also be completely wrong. But if I was that son-in-law and I was that teacher, you know, a teacher or whatever, and this affects me, you better believe, I don't care how many maybes, allegedlys. People think that the word allegedly saves you. Maybe, potentially. None of that. No alleged banners save you from a lawsuit, especially if you are a public person and the person that you are talking about is not. I don't know.
Hear that. They also processed the scene for biological evidence, still trying to process those samples as well. They didn't say which one, and they would not. They would not go into the crime scene itself. Every question everybody tried, he said, no, I'm not doing that. Let's talk suspects now, because this was my big reporting. And again, I will use the wording that my impeccable source used. Please, if you're going to disseminate this, use these words. They're the words I have used. They're the words that my sources used. Son-in-law may be prime suspect now. Okay. The sheriff has pushed back hard on that, saying no suspects identified.
May be prime suspect. She was the first to put it out too. So let's go.
At this time. No suspects identified at this time. I get it. But also said no one's being ruled out. Very strenuously, no suspects identified at this time. And even went so far as to suggest it's reckless to suggest otherwise. But I have been to this rodeo many times before. Law enforcement sometimes will be saying one thing publicly and doing something different privately. It happened with Brian Kohberger, December 19th,
No.
2022. They identified Brian Kohberger.
No. And I know. She was using that smart when she reported on that, and then this, and I get it, guys. And even I could give you, but oh man, this is a rough one. Okay.
As the owner of the DNA on the knife sheath. And the next day, on December 20th, the Moscow police chief recorded and posted on the police Facebook, "We do not have a suspect." Let me read it. "No suspect or suspects identified, and only vetted information that does not hinder the investigation will be released to the public. We encourage referencing official releases and accurate updated information." So they had Brian Kohberger. They'd already followed him across the country. And then they told us there are no suspects that have been identified. So I have been through this before. I have checked with my source regularly, 3 days in a row. Nothing has changed. And what my source actually said to me today is sometimes when you're taking pot shots, you are standing right on the target. Those were the words. Sometimes when you're taking shots, you are right on the target. So for what it's worth, I stand by this reporting. I stand by this impeccable source. And I stand by the fact that some of these things in the investigation that have been released and then walked back from the sheriff's department and then changed, and I've got a few of those examples coming up, have made me feel like something may be happening differently behind the scenes than we're hearing in the press conferences.
Well, let me just say this. This is not just hold up, I hear Baby Bunny. This is not just like a bad situation here where it's like, ooh, hold up, y'all. I might have to go check on Baby Bunny here. Give me 1 second.
A great example of that
Hold
was
up,
somebody who asked, "Are you actively investigating the son-in-law?" And the answer was, we're actively looking at everybody we come across in this case. At everybody. They went on to say the Uber driver, because Nancy took an Uber over to Annie and Tommaso's house earlier that day around 5-6 o'clock for a family evening together. And so they have connected with that Uber driver. And then he went on to list, the gardener, the pool person, everybody is a suspect in our eyes, he said. Then he said again, it would be reckless to report that someone is a suspect when they could very well be a victim. Well, if it's not true, you're absolutely right. And this is the reporting from a law enforcement source. Son-in-law may be prime suspect at this time. And then he went on to say, we just really don't have enough to say this is our suspect, this is our guy, or this is our gal. That's a quote. We just don't know that. The family's been very cooperative. And then he said, sometimes people can be mean out there, and that can really harm us and harm our efforts. I can assure you there's no intention of being mean. Reporters come up against this all the time, especially in gag orders, especially in investigations. And the only information the public...
Sorry, I had to check on Baby Bunny because she came back. What do y'all think? You said she's probably close to the family. She's probably a close family friend, like in Idaho, huh? Well, here's the deal, okay? So she needs to leave this one alone. Does reporting this do any good for the investigation? She's very confident about her sources. Okay, I'm including these comments. All right. My only concern, look, I mean, at some point we're going to find out, right? We're going to find out, yes or no. She could be very, 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 correct. And we've seen this before. I've talked about this before. She could be very correct. I've seen it, with we talked about the Brian Ensign situation with the Perkins operation. Okay. He was correct, and they did everything to discredit him. They're not obligated to tell us anything. Law enforcement isn't. The problem that I have here when Ashleigh talks about other cases is just the fallacy, the what is it? I think is it the casual fallacy? It's like this fallacy that just because is it false? Anyways, it's been a minute since I've thought about my fallacies, but there's this one specific fallacy that kind of really makes me think about, just because certain things follow a pattern in one event doesn't necessarily mean they're going to follow the pattern on the second event, right? So yeah, like correlation, causation type of situation where just because A doesn't always cause B type of thing. And that's the problem that I have here, that it's like we're assuming that whether it's the Kohberger or it's the Ed Smart or whatever. And listen, I don't take away from the fact that the lady's been in the business for many, many years, clearly. Knows a lot, has her connections, she's got her people. But yeah, like I would agree. This is another one too. I guess we'll see. Okay. She could be 1000% correct. But a Kohberger situation is different than this. And the sad part of this is the hardest part. This isn't just a regular traditional true crime situation, guys. Let's be very real. This is somebody that she knows, and she is essentially putting stuff about a family member of that person that she knows, somebody who she, did work with as well. They worked, I think, Court TV or some shit like that. She said they've worked together. And that's the thing about a lot of the people out here is like some of y'all work with these people, and then you're naming a family member of hers as prime suspect. That doesn't just go away in the wash later, guys. I mean, I would hold you to it, So if she is wrong, oh boy. But if she is correct, well, damn, then she deserves her flowers for being correct.
What gets her, the neighbors or anybody who's worried, is what we are able to find from our sources. Once again, impeccable source. I've been at this game for a very long time. As for the cameras, I reported from my source that the cameras, and I'll use the words that my source used, Nest cams were smashed. And the sheriff was unusual with that today, said that the cameras were removed, said the cameras in the timeline were disconnected. And then when a reporter asked were they smashed, the answer was, quote, "Don't know where you got the information about smashed. We're not confirming that." Didn't say no. He didn't deny it. Also, a reporter pushed further on that and said, regarding the disconnected camera, do you believe that camera was taken? And the sheriff said, we do not have it in our possession. We have not located it. So is this semantics? The cameras were potentially smashed off of their mounts and taken because he said, we don't have them. We have not located it. And then he confirmed that there are actually two, which is what my reporting said. There were more than one. There were two cameras that were smashed. He also said that something...
Wait, but I thought he said that they weren't smashed. I'm so confused by this. I just got here. What's the short version? Short version is that maybe. So she went from prime suspect to maybe a maybe. She inserted a maybe in there. And you're right, Abraham. She is comparing the law enforcement tactics to the Koberger thing. The thing about her, though, is that in even in other cases, she tends to insert past cases of how things are handled into current. But that doesn't always mean that they result in the same outcome. That's the thing. So, yeah, she inserted a maybe. That's what she did. Now, I'm confused about that. Yeah, I thought they said that they weren't. So were they smashed or were they smashed? If he was watching the property and scoping around and watching and doing his thing, you know what I mean? Like him, hey, them, she, whoever they are, then it's premeditation, right? They knew everything that was going on the property. He said, even if she's correct, it appears that leaking info prematurely is impacting this case, says Belen. Yeah, it's just kind of sad. But I could have sworn the camera was. I missed this. So no smashing of the cameras. Let me go back a little bit.
Hated it. So is this semantics? The cameras were potentially smashed off of their mounts and taken because he said, we don't have them. We have not located it.
He said no smashing. She says, is this semantics? Or she's asking the question. They were smashed off. He said no smashing. Could say removed. They were removed. Why are we saying smashing? Was there camera debris in the area when they went down there and they, the reporters were there and they saw the blood? Was there debris in that area? That is my question. You said what he said was he could not confirm if they were smashed or taken, was his exact words. If something is smashed, I'm thinking like there's debris, broken stuff. You know what I mean? But I don't know. Okay.
And then he confirmed that there are actually two, which is what my reporting said. There were more than one. There were two cameras that were smashed. He also said that something triggered...
Here's my question. How do you know if it was smashed? How would we even know if they were smashed? Hear me out. To smash is a very, like I said, it's a very deliberate type of action, right? If you're smashing a camera, right, you smashed it. And typically, if you're carrying this woman to wherever you're carrying her to kidnap her, you're not necessarily stopping to pick up the residue there. Yeah, but how do you know? How do they know? How? What? So the source told them that the cameras were smashed. Her impeccable source. Okay. Her impeccable source told her that the cameras were smashed. All right. They have 2 cameras. All right, then.
First camera at 1:47 a.m. So that's sort of when they believe that perhaps the proximity to the house for whomever did this began. 1:47 a.m.
Yes.
But the camera company can't give them video of it. They just know that there was an alert activity. There's activity on the camera at 1:47 a.m. There's also activity that's recorded, even though the camera is disconnected and removed around 1:47 a.m. There's activity that is alerted at 2:28 a.m. So about 45 minutes between the first alert and the last alert on those cameras. 2 camera hits. And the problem is that the information from the camera company doesn't delineate which cameras and was it an animal or was it something going by? It just says alert. Again, because Nancy Guthrie apparently didn't have the subscription to actually be able to see what was.
And that's the sad part, man. Just knowing that subscription could have helped. That's the sad part. You said, I think they were removed and taken, not smashed. The officers would not confirm or deny. At the end of the day, the cameras are not there. That's what it is. The cameras are not there. Yeah. You said didn't enter in. I think that's what was said, but it could have been straight through the source as well. She didn't subscribe to save the footage so they can't retrieve it, which is like, oh my God. Like, first of all, you go to the expense of buying a camera. You would think that there would be something to just kind of allow you to keep all that. You know what I mean? Especially, I don't know. I just feel like there could have been so much more here in this situation. You said, I'm convinced that she's taking direction and helping Savannah because of how bad this is. Who's taking direction and helping Savannah? Stephanie. Who and how? Why are you convinced? I'm confused. Let's see. If you look closely at Brian Enton, the false notification says either vehicle detected, persons detected, or animal detected. You said that that's false? Well, I don't know. I don't have an S camera, so I wouldn't know. You said if you had recovered broken/smashed camera, it would have been stated. They were removed. I don't know but did they clarify that? I don't think that they confirmed it in the presser, though. I don't know. You said we saw no debris. I mean, I didn't. My eyes are not laser focused that way, so I didn't see anything. But maybe you guys saw something that I didn't see.
Detected. It just said person detected. The software just said person detected. Let's talk about the vehicle. I reported from my source that the daughter of Nancy Guthrie, Annie, her car had been towed and was in evidence. And today, when asked about the vehicle, the sheriff said the vehicle that was towed, that's standard. It's part of the search warrant process. It's being processed. So I think that is clear that reporting bears out. The bizarre part of this news conference, there were a few bizarre, but one of the more bizarre parts of this news conference today was the sheriff has said to several different outlets in several different ways who dropped Nancy Guthrie off at 9:48-ish on Saturday night. I think it was varying stories. Annie or Tommaso or Annie and Tommaso. And so the reporters asked for clarity. What was it? Was it one, the other, or both who were the last people to drop Nancy off and see her?
And that would be a great, I thought that was a great question. And then we found out about an Uber. Okay.
And the answer was alarming. Just family. We're going to go with family. That was what the sheriff said. Just family. We're going to go with family. New York Times was told by the sheriff that the last person to drop off Nancy Guthrie was Tommaso, Annie's husband, Tommaso. I don't know why he wouldn't say the same thing during the news conference or clear that up, but he decided to say just family. We're going to go with family. As to forced entry, he didn't say there was or there wasn't. And I reported there was forced entry. That came from my source. He said, I don't know where that comes from. Whether there is or isn't forced entry, that's something we're not discussing. So again, doesn't knock it down, doesn't confirm or deny. So a reporter asked, was this targeted? And the answer that was given is that's why we have the FBI. Maybe it is a kidnapping, he says. And yet on Monday, when I interviewed the sheriff, he said definitively to me, it is a kidnapping. I'm not sure why they're hedging on that. And he said, we don't have anything to rule that out. Again, I'm not sure why they're hedging. Many of us were told it is an abduction. It is a kidnapping.
Wow.
And as far as motive, the sheriff said, my guess work is as good as yours. The FBI also said there's nothing to indicate that Nancy was taken because she is Savannah's mom. That's interesting. So nothing maybe in these ransom letters says, I know that you've got this.
Okay. See, and that's an interesting statement that the police said. So nothing to indicate that she was taken because she is Savannah's daughter. Then why a ransom? Then why a ransom? This is just weird to me overall. That statement in itself. What do you guys think? You said they were Nest cameras plus said smash and remove, which it is. Plus, did family bring up because it's weird how cameras even mentioned? I'm confused by your question. You said, I don't know about the Nest cameras, but some cameras have memory cards so you could save it out of subscription. That's right. Like you don't always need the subscription. Sometimes like the what is it, SD card or something like that. Maybe they didn't set it up that way. So it's like, why, what good are the cameras if you can't really use them? You said, I wonder if the sheriff is on it because he's being wishy-washy. Something's weird about the way this is being reported too. That's a good point. It's like, if she's not being, I can't think of any other reason why they would have targeted Nancy. And then why a ransom? Because even people that are kidnapped, I mean, they don't always get ransom. I don't know. You think it's a diversion? Say more. And then yes, Flojo, I got the photo. I did show it. We were talking about it, but thank you. The mugshot. You said, in other words, law enforcement believe that this is not Savannah specifically, but this is about money. That's what I got from that. So it's money related, but not because of who she is, but she wouldn't have any money if she wasn't who she was. I guess I don't know. Or maybe she would. Maybe I'm just speaking out loud. Okay.
National news anchor who's very successful with NBC behind her. Nothing suggests that, according to the FBI. So the investigation and the strategy, the FBI said that they've looked through banks, social media, phone companies. They're looking through the digital footprints. They're still going door to door and asking questions and asking for a ring cam. They have contacted pharmacies to find out if maybe, please God, they have gotten her the life-saving medication that she needs, but there's been nothing so far. And they are not communicating with the Mexican authorities. This is very close to the border. There's been a lot of talk about the Border Patrol, that this was definitive. They do not think that she was taken out of the country. They do not think that she was spirited across the border. They are not even communicating with the Mexican authorities. Clearly, they do not believe that is a big part of this investigation. This question was huge. This next one. Are you purposely withholding information because of the active investigation? I listened very carefully to this because I feel like the sheriff has called me reckless because of my reporting. And I stand by my reporting and I stand by my ironclad source.
Oh, man.
So I listened very carefully, again, to this question. Are you purposely withholding information because of the active investigation? And I want you to hear for yourself exactly the words that the sheriff used. Take a look.
That was a stupid question. Why? Duh, they do this all the time. Y'all remember we were listening to this. We were live on the presser, and it was like somebody asked, are you purposely withholding information? Because they can, because they're law enforcement and they do. And I mean, everybody should know that. It does. The way he answers, it's like, it's either here nor there, is that they can. They do it in every case. Yeah. Okay.
This is no different than any criminal investigation that we conduct here.
Exactly.
Law enforcement has conducted investigations since 1865 here in Pima County. We're always mindful of what it is that's in front of us and what we should release and can release. There's legal guidelines that guide us, but there's also strategy too. So, I'll leave that for you to determine.
So that
they're able to do that. We had former law enforcement here in our chat. And I asked the question, 2 days ago, and I said, do police lie to us? Yes. They're not obligated. They don't need to do press conferences, even though we demand it and we want it and all this other stuff for, us to have information, but they're not obligated to that. They're not obligated to be truthful. They can omit. They can, put something out there that isn't correct. We've seen it done so many times. They'll put up a footage and say, guys, we're looking for this, but really they're looking over there. This is always been the thing that they've done.
is fascinating to me. This is no different than any criminal investigation than we conduct here. We're always mindful of what's in front of us and what we should release and can release. There's legal guidelines that guide us, but there's also strategy too. I'll leave that for you to determine. So possibly my reporting is being knocked down for that reason. Maybe not. Again, I have said from the beginning, law enforcement reserves every right to change their minds in investigation, and they should be open to that. They should have been open to it in John Ramsey. They should have been open to it in Ed Smart. They should have been open to it in Richard Jewell. Eventually they were, but that is what they're supposed to do. Go where the investigation takes them. But right now, my source says it has taken them to the son-in-law who may be a prime suspect right now. Okay. So then should the federal reinforcements have been brought in earlier, meaning the crime scene?
Okay, hold up. I want to do a poll. Now, I don't know. Apparently I learned this yesterday. I didn't know that mods could do this. If a mod can put up a poll, I don't know if you're able to. If it allows you to, let me know. I wanted to test it out. I can do it myself, but I'm kind of curious if one of my mods can put up a poll that says something to the effect of, do you believe Ashleigh Banfield's source? Anybody with a wrench, or they're not wrenches anymore, they're shields now. Let me know if you're able to do that. I don't know if there's like a different mod type of status that you have to be, but I want to test it out. Let me know if you're able to do that. If not, that's okay. I'll do it myself, but I wanted to see if the mod could do it. If it's true that on YouTube mods can put up polls now. You said whether you committed a crime or not, you should your rights should never be violated in this country, says Layla. Okay, this woman, oh my goodness, Venus is like, listen, I gotcha. Shout out to Venus. Okay, no story is worth all this, Ashleigh. Ooh, you guys are really mad. We are not getting any more pressers. I don't think so. Not with the FBI being there. Not with the FBI being there. Oh no, I don't think so. The next presser would have to be other outcomes that might have been found and whatnot. You don't see it? Okay. All right. No superpowers yet? Dang. So I heard that this was a new change, by the way. That mods are able to do polls now on channels. Okay. Well, I don't see it yet, YouTube. Figure it out. Let me do a poll real quick. Okay. So this is my poll. Let's see. Do you believe Banfield? Banfield's source? Okay, so we're going to say it's just a simple yes or no. Yes and no. That's it. Go vote. And while you're voting, hit the like button. Let's keep reviewing this.
Was dismantled. The tape came down. I think it was like 30 or 40 hours from the 911 call. And the sheriff he's owning it. He's saying, look, I get it. The Monday morning quarterbacking, he says, I will take that hit. Other people who are very knowledgeable about investigations have said, don't worry. The FBI is going in for something entirely different. Yes and no. They may or may not have been able to get what they needed when they put the crime scene tape back up and went in for like 2 hours yesterday. But the courts are an issue, and the courts would have to sort that out in any potential prosecution afterwards, because a defense attorney will say, are you kidding me? This evidence was compromised. There were reporters walking all over the place. The crime scene tape was down. Anybody could have gone in. So it could be an issue, but oftentimes it might not be either. So there's 50-50 on that. And there's a few other quotes directly from the sheriff that I'd like to share with you.
Fox Digital. Sheriff, you said you've identified no suspects. Have you ruled out anyone she was with on Saturday night?
You know, we've talked to so many. I'm sure that
Banfield, it's Ashleigh Banfield. Ashleigh, the reporter, her last name is Banfield, for those that are asking who's Banfield.
Investigators have feelings about this one's clear or this one isn't, but no, I wouldn't say anybody's ruled out yet, because what if I rule you out and then later I learn something else? No.
Have you been in communication with anyone who you believe could be the kidnapper?
You know, it goes back to what we talked about. Nobody's eliminated, but we just really don't have enough to say this is our suspect, this is our guy. We know, or our gal. We just don't know that.
Are you actively investigating the son-in-law in this case? Well, there were reports earlier this week and you refuted that. You said you haven't eliminated everybody. Have you eliminated him or come close to it, or are you actively looking at him?
We're actively looking at everybody we come across in this case. Everybody. We would be irresponsible if we didn't talk to everybody. The Uber driver, the gardener, the pool person, whoever. Everybody. It's so cliche, but everybody's still a suspect in our eyes. That's just how we look at things and think as cops. Does that mean we have a prime suspect? No. And the family's been very cooperative. They've done everything we've asked of them, and we want that relationship to continue.
I don't think I'm gonna be honest with you. The way this sheriff talks, I mean, he just looks like somebody that, you know, he's dealt with media before. He talked about what is it, the politician shooting a couple years ago. He dealt with that. The way he talks, I personally think that it's just we can't really hold him against him. So it's kind of hard to assess everything that's happening here. Which, okay, like take it for what it's worth, you know.
And sometimes people can be mean out there, and that can really harm us.
The FBI has now offered a $50,000 reward for information that will help find Nancy. They're also going to start putting up billboards in the vicinity. And then I thought it again strange. There was an announcement made at the end that there will be no further press conferences unless warranted, unless information is warranted. So I just want to keep you up to speed on all of the reporting. And I have had so many phone calls from media outlets and former colleagues and people I've worked with for years or known for years in the business asking me, are you sure? Are you sure? And I am standing by my reporting. I have done this a long time. I had a reporter ask me recently, well, you've left a major network where the standards are different and now you're working for your own outfit. Have you relaxed your standards? I have not relaxed who I am and what I have built over 4 decades of being a correspondent, an anchor, a war correspondent, a victim of 9/11, and someone who has spent more hours in court than I could possibly ever count. I have not. This would be the exact same reporting if I worked at CNN, MSNBC, Fox, ABC, NBC, CBS, or News Nation. So just so you know, I have an incredible source. I stand by that source. I have communicated regularly with that source. And
she's like, listen, she said, get off my invisible nuts. That's what she's saying with that. What she's saying, she said, get off my invisible nuts. I'm standing on what I'm saying. That's what she's saying.
I have also said exactly what that source said and how things can change. So if you're going to re-report again, what I say, please just use the words that I use. And then also be mindful when you listen to how the sheriff answers, because I am seeing a lot of room for movement there. As always, I'm so thankful that you are following this case with me, that you watch and listen to this podcast. Thank you for being a part of this community. And remember, the truth isn't just serious. It is drop dead serious.
Okay. Well, she could be 1000% correct. And I guess time is going to tell. Now, yesterday, all right. Yes, that's what we're about to talk. Actually, the report came from the New York Post about this unmarked car. All right. You said girl addressed the Epstein files. She is not going to do that. She is not going to do that. Not right now. Y'all, we talked about that yesterday. That's crazy. Nancy Guthrie's neighbor reported a suspicious white van parked on block. Excuse me, I can't even read. On block days before 84-year-old went missing. So Nancy's neighbor reported suspicious white van parked. So it was the neighbor that reported this. Lord have mercy, I can't read. On the block days before the 84-year-old went missing. So the neighbor saw a white van that was suspicious. This is not a gated community, guys, so people can drive up and whatnot. But apparently they felt like there was a white van that was very suspicious parked on the street in the days before the 84-year-old vanished. Now, the neighbor, his name is Brett McIntyre, told the Post on Thursday that he reported the unmarked van to the police, who asked him basic questions about what he observed in the days leading up to the disappearance of Savannah's 84-year-old mother. It was somewhere on the street. It was a white van, full size, with no printing on the signs. It was parked on the street, said McIntyre, who lived across from Nancy. So he lived across from Nancy. He saw this van and he was like, okay. Normally, people that are coming to work on your home will have a company vehicle or they're independent, something written on it, the 72-year-old added. That's true. But sometimes there's like those unmarked white vans. But it's crazy because it's like this property is just so huge. To note that she was there on her own, like it's crazy work, you know? She's there by herself. Is this neighbors, investigators in the area about Nancy asking questions? Okay. Here's a timeline. This is a good little timeline here. On the 31st of January, 5:32 p.m., Nancy travels to local family home. 9:48 p.m., family drops Nancy off at home. Garage doors open. And the garage door open and close, very specific time. So 9:48, they dropped her off. The garage doors open. 9:50, it closes. February 1st, doorbell camera disconnects at about 1:47 a.m. 2:12 a.m. software detects person on camera. No video available, no subscription. 2:28 a.m. pacemaker app shows disconnect from phone. The phone was in the property, my understanding. At 11:56 p.m., family checks in on Nancy. And 12:03. Now, where is the call? What time did the call happen from the church? Because that's missing from this timeline. Because it was the fact that she didn't go to church, and that's when they called, right? At least that's my understanding of how all of this went down. Anyways. So from now on, when I'm going out and about, I'll have paper and pen and record anything unusual. This is what the neighbor says. His wife, Lisa McIntyre, they're now considering getting security cameras despite having a pretty secure residence. Brett and I were talking and we thought, well, we should probably get one. We have a pretty secure residence, metal doors. I'm kind of a deep sleeper, so it's unlikely someone could get past one of the metal doors. But we're a little concerned. We are a little concerned. The McIntyres couldn't recall the exact day they spotted the van. Oh, that's not good. They said it was days before all of this went down. The Post reached out to Pima County Sheriff's Department. Oh, man. Guthrie was reported missing on Sunday, and the investigation was declared a criminal probe on Monday. Police said on a press conference Thursday afternoon that they believe Nancy was still out there and hoped to get her home as soon as possible. A ransom. We know about the ransom note. We're not going to go over that. But, I mean, literally, it's just a developing story. And, I mean, hopefully more tips will come as people are reporting things. And they should be reporting things if they notice anything. Yeah, that's my thought. Let's see. You said 2 teens were arrested in California 2 weeks ago, holding people hostage demanding cryptocurrency in a nicer Scottsdale area kind of rule, similar to Nancy's home. Wow. Kelly J, that's interesting. The white van could have been someone doing work in the area. My son is an electrician. Yeah, sometimes the white vans just, they come unmarked. I mean, we'd like them to be marked, but, you know, they do come unmarked. Cash, thank you so much for the $4.99. A tip for you, Time Rabbit. Thank you. Shout out to Belen. Belen, thank you so much for your Cash App. And let me see. Did I miss any? Oops, sorry. Did I miss anybody? I always miss because I don't get the notification on it. I don't try not to look at my phone as much and stuff like that. And shout out to everybody. Y'all are amazing. Thank you, Belen. Thank you. You are beautiful. Thank you, love. Thank you. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to let you guys go. We are definitely, hold up. Let me make sure I didn't miss anybody. The door. Okay, we read this. Thank you. FBI said 3 ransom. That's right. We did read this and we read this. Shout out to everybody, y'all. I'm going to let you go because I got to go get, watch Baby Bunny and get the Friday started and everything. But y'all are amazing. Shout out to you guys. Thank you for supporting the channel. If something breaks, we're going to be live, okay? We will be live and we're going to keep an eye out. And I mean, prayers, my thoughts, hopefully that she's found. The hope is that, that's what we want ultimately, that she's found. Okay. We're hoping that she's found safe. That's the biggest thing. And we'll be here. Hope you guys join us later. And shout out to all and everybody. You guys have a great, wonderful Friday. Bye, guys. Have a good one.